So the Airport Authority hired Marketplace to work with them on the redevelopment of the concession program, both at Reagan Washington National and at Dulles International, at a time when both programs were in need of a complete redevelopment. Our goals were to do that in a way that increased the level of passenger service and passenger satisfaction, and that brought really best-of-class merchants and food service operators and brands to the traveling public that use both of these terrific airports. We were asked to do that in a way that had outreach that was going to include nationals, that was going to include regional operators, and obviously locals, and that was going to be done in a way that created opportunity for businesses both out of the national, regional, and locals to be part of the program. That's been done, and we have some great results in terms of the companies that are here now.
The biggest challenge for us in beginning the program was to look at National as a local airport and Dulles as an international airport. Our goal was to provide all of our passengers with a sense of place. The difference being in Dulles, sometimes that sense of place is really more about it being in the United States as opposed to being in Washington, D.C. It's more of a feel of this is my point of entry to the country, and 25% of our passengers at Dulles are international passengers. To that end, we tended to opt towards more national concepts at Dulles and more local concepts at Reagan National.
Well, the programs are completely different. In all cases, we had in both airports, we had an opportunity to do about 90% of the spaces turned over or had the opportunity to be released. So in the past 3 years, we have built and either renovated or completely changed about 125 units. So across the board, it truly is a redevelopment plan or program that has changed the entire passenger experience at both airports. So there have not been dramatic changes in the spaces here. Where there have been dramatic changes have been in the tenants. We have added more food and beverage. We have added more local names. At both airports, you're now going to find iconic names like Ben's Chili Bowl, like El Centro, like Capnos Taverna. Great names out of the Washington, D.C. market. Chef Jeff out at Dulles, that truly bring a whole new level of service and activity here. We also have changed things dramatically on the retail side, particularly at Dulles, where obviously we have to deal and provide service to an international passenger. We've added a whole zone that has nothing but luxury brands. So now you have Coach, Michael Kors, Thomas Pink, just to name a few, that really have upped the game in terms of the offering that's available to the traveling public. Also on the retail side here in National Hall, we have reinvigorated it with a lot of old brands that have been brought back or updated, like Brooks Brothers on the food side, like Legal Seafood. But we've also brought new brands into the game here, like Toomey and Vineyard Vines. So it's a new program overall, and with a lot of new brands and faces.
Again, I think the bigger changes were larger spaces, well-lit bars, broader menus. We've also integrated more services. We opened up a brand new spa. We had not had a spa at Dulles before. Again, paying attention to how people's travel experience was holistically. We wanted to make sure we had a full range of price points so people could enjoy fast food in a hurry or quality, less known food that may be prepared by a concession operator who had a restaurant but didn't have a brand name but could package it to go. So again, everything was geared towards how do we serve our passengers better. Probably the biggest thing that we did was to expand the variety of our offerings at both airports. At each of the airports, you'll see a broader variety, particularly on the food side. You'll see a lot more ethnic cuisines or ethnic restaurants at each airport. We also attended to creature comforts. We needed more seats. We have people who are standing to eat, people who are sitting in hold rooms. So in many cases, we expanded what might have been 1 or 2 walk-up restaurants into one larger restaurant with a greater seating capacity and a bigger bar area. We paid attention to some of the smaller details. We looked at places to hang your bag, or places to hang your equipment as you travel. We're basically looking at places for people to plug in their electronics. Creature comfort was a big part of what we did. All the seats that we looked at, we tested. We said we wanted to make sure our passengers could be comfortable sitting there, whether it was because they chose to or because there might be a flight delay, that they could spend more time in our facilities enjoying themselves.
The changes at both airports have been really designed to address the needs of the traveling public. Over time, the program here had become tired and needed to be totally reinvigorated and updated. We feel like what has been done in the last 3 years has truly achieved that goal. A couple of places in particular where you're going to find that change. Here at Washington National, if you go out on the 3 piers, there just simply was not enough food and beverage available for the traveling public. At peak times, you couldn't get something to eat, you couldn't get something to drink. To address that goal, we reconfigured how space is used on the ends of those 3 concourses or piers, and now you find new offerings that are quite tailored, quite specifically planned and designed to provide good service, high-speed service to the traveling public as you go through there. It makes a big difference. Well, in terms of what stand out to me, first, I think the dramatic change that we've made in Terminal A. Terminal A is the oldest terminal here at Washington National. It's a terminal that historically was the first place here, and unfortunately it kind of shows it. The test of time has had some ill effects on it. The program that was there prior to a couple of years ago was really kind of put together in a fairly hodgepodge sort of way, for lack of a better term. What's there today is a very comprehensive program that provides the traveling public with a brand new look, an increased level of service, works in a very tight terminal to provide food and beverage, retail choices that they never saw before. Also, as on the other 3 piers here at Washington National, the food and beverage offerings and the quick service offerings that have been put in the end of the piers, again, have been very customized, very focused at providing great service and great choices to passengers in the area of the airport where they are waiting for their flights. And finally, in terms of big change, I would go over to Dulles and look at the luxury brand area which simply didn't exist before. Today you have a zone of that airport that is catering to the international passenger that comes through that airport, that provides great brands like Coach, like Michael Kors, like Kiehl's, and many others, along with a higher level of service with the Spire concept, Be Relax, which has just recently opened there. We're really very, very pleased with the success that we have had in achieving the goals that the Airport Authority put out there for us when we started this project. First of all, the airport wanted it to be a very inclusive project in terms of how we did outreach and how we gave all merchants and potential tenants an opportunity to compete for the spaces. We've done that through a very comprehensive process that had 5 outreach meetings over a 2.5-year period that literally had hundreds of businesses involved in looking at these spaces and competing for the spaces at both airports. That has been a great success in terms of how that process has worked. The end result is we now have, at this point, we're still doing a lot of construction, but we've opened, I think, just over 125 new stores in that period of time. And as those stores have opened, our numbers have just gotten better and better. We've moved the dial in sales by about over $40 million. We've moved the dial in rent by about over $12 million. And in a very, very important part of our program, we've moved the dial in ACDB participation where our numbers are approaching almost 50% participation. So very proud of all of that. It's been a great success.